Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're talking about something that is showing up pretty much everywhere, and that includes our schools: artificial intelligence. Is it a tool, a new kind of teacher, or maybe even a threat?
So, why is this conversation so urgent right now? Well, let's start with a number that really sets the stage: 55,000. That's how many teacher vacancies were reported in the US just last school year.
So, to really get our heads around this whole thing, here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll look at the classroom challenge, then the promise AI holds, the new tools it gives teachers, the serious ethical red flags we have to consider, and finally, a potential path forward. Okay, let's dive right into it. Our education system, well, it's under a lot of stress right now. We've got a crisis of teacher burnout and these widening academic gaps, which makes it incredibly difficult to meet every single student's needs. And you can really see this reflected in how people feel about the profession. Just look at this chart. Back in 1969, public support for teaching was sky high. Three-quarters of people said they'd want their kid to become a teacher. Fast forward to today, that number has absolutely plummeted to just 40%. So, into this really challenging environment steps a potential game changer: artificial intelligence. It's emerging as this powerful new tool, and it's promising to completely revolutionize the learning experience. At its core, the really big promise of AI is all about personalization. I mean, just imagine it: a system that can adapt lessons to each student's unique pace, deliver exactly the right content at the right time, and even provide powerful assistive tech for those who need it most. And this isn't just theory. You've got platforms out there like Maths Pathway in Australia that use machine learning to create totally unique math lessons for every single student. And what happens? Higher test scores, and kids are way more engaged. And check this out for a real-world impact. At the University of Alabama, they used an AI system that could identify students who were at risk of falling behind and then trigger interventions to help them. The result was just profound. Now, you might be thinking, does all this personalization make teachers obsolete? Not at all. In fact, it completely transforms their role. With AI handling a lot of the direct instruction, teachers can shift from being the lecturer at the front of the room to more of a mentor or a guide on the side. So how do you actually do this in a classroom? Well, to make it practical, Washington State's education agency developed this really smart framework. It shows how you can layer AI into assignments, starting with simple brainstorming all the way up to co-creating content with the AI. Now, what's really cool is seeing how this plays out in a real assignment. So for an essay, a teacher might say, okay, you can use AI to brainstorm ideas, but the writing has to be all you. Or for a podcast project, maybe they allow AI to help write the script, but the student has to add all their own creative flair and commentary. But, and this is a big but, with all this power comes some pretty significant risks. Stephen Hawking captured this warning in a way that's, well, it's pretty chilling. Okay, so that leads us right to the heart of the debate: the serious ethical red flags that we absolutely have to talk about when we integrate AI into our classrooms. So you've got this fundamental tension, right? On one hand, AI promises to be objective and fair, but the problem is it learns from data created by humans, and that data can be full of our own societal biases about race, gender, and class. And believe me, this isn't some abstract what-if scenario. We've seen it happen. There are countless studies showing AI systems reflecting real-world biases, from gender stereotypes in translation to racial bias in facial recognition software. So when you add it all up, the risks here are huge. We're talking about really sensitive stuff, like who has control over student data, the potential for constant surveillance, algorithms that could unfairly treat certain students, and even a loss of autonomy as AI starts making predictions about a student's future. Okay, so with all that in mind, how do we get the good without the bad? Well, that same guide from Washington State offers a really simple but powerful philosophy for a human-centered approach. It's a three-step process, and it's brilliant. First, everything, and I mean everything, has to start with human curiosity. A person, a student or a teacher, has to be the one to ask the first question. Next up, that's when you bring in the AI. It becomes this incredible tool you can use to generate ideas, find information, or maybe even create a first draft. And this right here is the most important part. It has to end with human empowerment. The person, the student, the teacher, they always get the final say. They do the critical thinking, the editing, and develop the real understanding. So you get this model, human, AI, human, or HAIH. It's a clear, responsible way to move forward, and it ensures that the technology is serving our educational goals, not the other way around. Because at the end of the day, the goal here is for AI to be a complement, not a replacement for the stuff that truly matters in education: human expertise, empathy, and professional judgment.
So ultimately, this whole conversation about AI's role in the classroom isn't just about technology. It's really about us. It's about the choices we're going to make. AI is a tool, not a teacher. So the real question is, how will we choose to use it?